Oh, it's not usually still light out. It looks different. Oh, here comes Bob.
Yeah, it stays light longer now,
Yeah.
especially on clear night. It's March.
Hi, Bob, you're muted.
At your mother's house?
Yes, I am.
I just didn't see that as town hall unless that you'd done some changes there.
I made changes to my office, but not quite this good.
Good.
Yep, she's doing good.
Yeah, say hello to your mom for me.
I will. Bob says hello, Mom.
Oh, hi.
She said hi.
Good. 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 Happy spring.
Did you hear him? He said happy spring.
Oh,
And it's definitely
Happy
feeling
spring
like
to Jim.
spring. She said happy spring to you too, Bob.
Thanks. Hi, Ellen.
How are you?
I'm good. Good. How are you, Ellen? How are you,
I'm
Michael?
wonderful.
Good.
Why not?
It's nice to be wonderful. I'd
Yeah,
like to
you
know
gotta
what
have a
that feels like
positive
every day.
attitude. Even if when it snows at night, you still have to have a positive attitude.
Good. That's my view. My philosophy is the power of positive thinking.
Good for you. Okay. I just printed out all the stuff from Tim. Now I'm trying to figure it all out.
In terms of positive thinking, smile, they said, things could be worse. So I smiled, and sure enough, they got worse.
Oh,
Where did you hear that one? That's good.
That's my
Well,
philosophy.
I have a friend who used to work, he was an engineer of some sort, and he had this boss that was absolutely paranoid. So what would happen was, every time the boss came there, he'd just sit there and grin. And finally, the guy said to him, I don't know what you're up to, but you've got to be up to something. But of course, he wasn't. He was just trying to get to him. Whoops, somebody's got a puppy.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
No, that's okay.
She hears a dog. I'm in the car.
Is she one of these dogs that barks because she hears voices and thinks there are other people in the house?
It's usually UPS trucks for some
Oh.
reason and any large vehicle.
Yeah. That's right, because they wouldn't hear it because you've got earphones on.
Yeah.
I have so
exactly.
many friends, though, that have animals that really think there's somebody else in the house and go absolutely crazy when you're on
Yeah.
Zoom. What is she?
That's-
What kind?
Oh, just a mutt. Got some Australian cattle dog and terrier and
How big is she?
hey, she's about 25 pounds. Yeah, she's kind of medium size, I would call her.
I'm going to go
Small
to
to
mute.
medium.
We've got junk coming through. I've got
Okay.
Who's
What?
that dog?
hallelujah. It stopped. Wouldn't you know it? Every time I'm on Zoom, we get a phone call, be it real or spam. It's a nuisance. So I'm sorry, what does she weigh?
About like 25 to
Oh, so
30
she's
pounds.
pretty
somewhere.
tiny.
Yeah,
And
she's
she's-
like small to medium. Yeah.
And she's full grown.
Yep. She's 4 years old now. Yeah.
Still
Good
at the
dog.
point where she thinks she's a puppy.
Oh yeah. She definitely has the temperament of a puppy. Yeah.
And the actions, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Ellen, to interrupt,
we-
but
Are we ready to
Walter
begin?
has to leave it.
Yes, I
in
know.
15
Okay.
minutes. So
Okay, then I'm going to call the meeting to order. And we, 1, 2, 3, 4, we do have a quorum. 5. And if it's okay with all of you, the agenda, we have the agenda, but I'm going to change it with your permission because Walter has to leave by 6 o'clock. And he's got some new quotes on the vehicle. So if it's okay with all of you, and please indicate it is, so we can ask Walter to speak. Yeah, thumbs up is fine. That's a good signal. Okay, Walter, I'm going to turn it over to you then.
Okay, just a quick background in doing some of this checking and working with my contact over at Marcotte Ford. As I think I mentioned before, the state bids they're usually done on a 5-year contract, and they were coming up in December, and they were going out to bids again in January. Unfortunately, the state changed the way they did their bidding process, and it really kind of messed up a lot of different vendors. And when it comes to, at least, we were specifically talking the Fords, the Ford Interceptors for police cruisers and that. There was only one dealership in the state of Massachusetts that actually got the bid, and that's out somewhere in Plymouth County. Not even MHQ actually got the state bid. So I don't know how that's going to affect things in ordering new vehicles, but my guy over at Marcotte Ford, Richard, he had, seeing some of this coming up, he had ordered 4 2022 Interceptors on the old state bid. So he ordered them while they still had the bid. And what he is getting in, they're not in yet. He had ordered 4 of the police Interceptors. 2 of them were black, 2 of them were white, 2 of them are hybrid, and 2 of them are gas. So there's a black hybrid and a gas, and a white hybrid and a gas. Those are the gas ones are coming in supposedly sometime March or April, and the hybrids are coming in May or June. In the fact that he was able to order them on the old price list, the prices that he quoted me for the gas model was $36,688, and the hybrids are a little bit more, $3,370 more, coming in at $40,058. So these are the full police Interceptor models with all the features that they usually have, short of all the special lighting and sirens and all that stuff. But the base model of these vehicles, again, the gas one is $36,688, and the hybrid is $40,058. I don't know how, I couldn't tell him, yes, we want them, and have them, have them set them aside for us. I'm sure that if we had some kind of indication whether this was going to be supported by the capital planning, I could at least put a bug in his ear and saying, hey, yes, we are interested. We won't know for sure till May 21st after town meeting. But like I said, they're not coming in till March, April, and May, June. But these are on the old state bid prices. And like I said, Marcotte Ford, none of the Ford dealers around here got the state bid, and neither did MHQ, as far as I'm aware of. So
Wow.
just some information to have guys that that we could possibly save some money on these if we could either, I think it's vote to view it from free cash or whatever to fund it. That way we don't have to wait till the beginning of the fiscal year to actually put the order in. But I just wanted to get that information to you to, hopefully it will help you make a decision on whether to move forward on these or not.
Thank you, Walter. You did a lot of work. We appreciate it. I'm appalled that it's only one dealership got it. I don't understand that, but that's kind of weird.
They totally changed the way that the state bid was done, and made it very hard for many of the dealers to do it, because even on pickup trucks and all that, Marcotte Ford didn't get any of the state bid on any of the vehicles.
Wow.
Because the way they wrote it, it was something to do with, like, you had to put in a price on your very basic model and a price on a full model. And because of the way different manufacturers wrote their specs, all that, there's a whole bunch of stuff that he was talking about that I don't quite remember or understand, because this conversation was almost 3 weeks ago or so, a month ago. That it was just they changed the whole process of how they did it, and it made it very tough for a lot of the dealers to actually get in on the bid. So
That's sad. That is really sad.
yeah, so it kind of locks in to one dealership, right, as far as I know.
Wow.
Not to
That's
say
too
you
bad.
can't buy them from another dealership, but you won't get them at the state bid.
Yeah. Yeah,
Walter, this is, correct me if I'm wrong, but this looks like a significantly lower price than we were talking at our last meeting, right? Because weren't we looking at like a $50,000?
Well, that gave us what he figured the prices were going to be, plus allowance to do the lighting
Yeah,
and radio installations and things like that. So, you know, to ask a price of, we figured 50,000 covered everything.
oh, okay.
And honestly, at least on the fire department vehicle, I don't see the need for replacing all the lighting. I don't think, this vehicle has a lot more lighting on it because it was originally a police vehicle. And when we swapped it out to the fire department, they just changed all the lighting that was on there from blue to red. I mean, really taking just some of the lighting off of it, the light bar itself, and having my guy that I have do all our radio installations, all that, he does all the lighting installations and all. I think doing it in-house with him doing it would make it a much cheaper, and we could come in, well below that number, especially if we can get the vehicle for gas model for 36. I think, even if we bought a brand new light bar, I think we could still be, closer to 42, 43, or maybe even under that. I would say safe to say 45,000 and be safe to be under that by far.
yeah, because Kristen's estimates were about 50, and that was probably on the new, estimating what the new bid list. would
Right,
be.
and that's what he was saying. He was estimating that what he figured the new prices were going to come in at, and the, allocations for doing lighting and radios and all that stuff.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
figured around 50,000.
Yeah.
Like I said, he did get these in on the old bid, state bid. So he couldn't do it for that now because he doesn't have the state bid.
Right. So he was smart enough, had foresight enough to order these vehicles and get them under the previous
Yep.
pricing, which is wonderful.
Right.
Very smart, very shrewd. Yeah, because I noticed MHQ was one of the ones Kristen got. And of course,
Yep.
they're not in the,
They gave
Need
it
it
price
anymore.
out again, figuring that they would be able to get on the state.
yeah,
And just estimating what those price increases usually are
yeah.
from the manufacturers. And as far as I know, MHQ didn't get on the state bid either
That's,
for the Interceptor.
blows me away.
It blew a lot of people away, I think, in the industry.
Oh, yeah.
Has
Okay.
Kristen seen this bid? 'Cause it might be relevant.
I
for
did give her
request,
some of this information.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I gave her the actual prices or not.
Okay.
So she is aware that these are, that we had these, she was gonna, I was supposed to, I don't know if I actually did give her his contact information. She was gonna contact him also. But again, these are coming in. As far as I know, they haven't been spoken for, but
Gotta do it
being that
fast.
they are this low, and if somebody finds out about it, I think they might be spoken for very quick.
Yeah, all it takes is one city to decide they want to buy all of them.
Yep.
And that can happen. Some of them replace 5 or 10 cruisers a year. Yes,
Right.
Bob.
Yeah, I just think, unless I'm misunderstanding something, I think that we can't really allocate money from capital planning. We make a recommendation, then it
You're
has to
right.
go through.
Whether,
Right.
yes,
Right.
we know that.
Yeah, and like I said, Bob,
I'd like to.
my thing was, go ahead.
I just want to say that, but it finally has to be approved by town meeting before there's any money really available. So I don't
Absolutely.
see any practical way that you can, acquire or reserve one of these cars before that.
Well, no, not that I could, but here's the thing is if you guys had said, no, we're not going to support this at all, then I won't pursue it any further. At least I have the knowledge that you guys are going to pursue it and maybe approve and recommend it. And I will make my phone calls to Richard and talk to him and say, hey, this is what we're looking at. If you don't have anybody knocking at your door for these things yet, don't go advertising them yet.
Mhm.
Sure, he will have no problem in selling them if we don't get approval. But he's worked with us very well before. We got a great deal on doing the rescue. He worked very well with us to keep costs down and give us exactly what we wanted and really push for everything. So I know he wouldn't be doing this because he's under the understanding he's worked with departments and towns
Yeah.
all the time. He knows what the process is. He's given me the heads up on this as, you know, as a favor and as a past customer that's treated him well. So.
Becky, you were raising your hand. You're muted.
Sorry. I was just gonna say, when we've had a similar situation or had a contract, we have actually at different times contracted with a vendor with a clause in the contract saying that the full contract is contingent upon funds passing at annual town meeting.
Yeah.
So with a contingency in place, it honors the town meeting vote, and it just alerts the vendor that the town is serious, but until the final votes are taken, we don't have a real contract.
And they know that. I mean, it's something like Marcotte, who deals with municipalities, knows doggone well that for most of us don't have the ability to just snap our fingers and come up with that kind of money, and it takes a town meeting vote.
Right. And I just
So they
wanted
realize.
to tell Bob, that's
Yeah.
how it can be
Yeah.
done in a upfront, open, legal fashion that doesn't, bind the town to, it doesn't
To
fully
some-
commit
yeah.
the town, but it alerts the vendor. And in some cases, the vendor will, honor that and hold something until such time as that annual town meeting takes place.
Okay. So what this says to me is that we have two vehicles. On our agenda, it did not indicate that we were going to discuss whether we were going to send them forward tonight. We're just getting the additional new information. Am I correct, Becky?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So we
therefore,
don't
we
have a
we
decision.
can't make any decisions tonight, but we should plan to have our next meeting as soon as possible to make those decisions, so that if they can go forward, they can then go to the finance committee and things can move, so that we may be able to get these two vehicles at a substantially reduced cost over what we've been estimated. A $10,000 per cheaper is a nice hunk of change. So therefore, we can't make any decisions tonight. But Walter, thank you so much for your work on this.
Oh.
And I'm still appalled that there's nobody else.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder, and we'll leave it at that, having watched state processes over many years.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you for your time.
Oh, sure. Thank you. Now you can get you to your meeting. Bye-bye. We thank you. Okay. So then the next thing I think is, Becky, you have the agenda. I don't have a copy of the agenda. Is the next thing the highway?
Minutes.
Yes, we have minutes first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Did everyone have a chance to look at the minutes from the last meeting? I'm seeing some yeses.
I did.
Okay, do I have a motion pertaining to the minutes? Does somebody want to accept them, please?
Yeah, come
Well,
on, somebody. I wasn't there, so I can't do it.
Well, I'll make a motion, but there's going to be a discussion of the minutes, so we can talk to AJ about some details in it after we make the motion. Is that true?
Right.
Yes, you can
Okay,
be,
I'll
and
make a
discussion
motion.
is after the motion's made and seconded.
I'll make the motion. Motion made.
I'll second it.
Okay, now, is there any discussion on the minutes?
I just wanted to say, AJ, just during our discussion with Tim, which is the first part of your minutes, I did make, I asked him if there was an option for using a reconditioning the existing body in the truck. And he said that was an option. They've done it before. And that would be like in the paragraph says BG states it's difficult to purchase a truck in this environment, whether we could use the truck for now with a new body. But I also asked him if he could use a reconditioned existing body, and he said yes.
Okay.
So that I think would be useful to have in the minutes.
Okay.
And on the same subject further down, he did say that the cab, frame, motor, tranny, and rear end are all good as far as he knows. But, he's concerned about having a major breakdown and the possibility of getting, say, a tranny or a rear end for that vehicle. But he thought that as of this moment, and maybe Steve could speak to this too, but that's what he said anyway last week. So that's what should be in the minutes, I think.
Okay, so I just want to add a couple sentences here then. So Tim also stated that a reconditioned
The body could be reconditioned. That body
Body.
is the part that holds the sand. and,
Right. Yeah.
But he also said that as far as he knew, they had difficulty getting a muffler off the shelf, but the major components of the truck, the motor and the transmission and the frame seem to be okay right now. So his concern was in the future, servicing it if there was a major breakdown.
Right.
So
All right, so I'm going to add, after that sentence, the truck body is experiencing significant rust. I'll say the major components of the truck
chassis, yeah,
are, the chassis are intact.
they're in good shape, yeah, according to Tim.
Okay, any concerns about that? Anybody? No, that's good. All right,
Thanks. That's all I have.
Thank you. Okay, so the minutes have been received, they have been corrected or added to. Is there any further discussion? Although Steve, no? All those in favor of accepting the minutes, please give me a fingers a heads up or thumb up or whatever you want to do.
Roads, I want to do a vote.
Oh, do we have to do a vote on this?
That's what
A
I'm
virtual,
told.
an audio vote,
Yes.
Becky?
Yeah,
Okay,
So
Roll
Michael
call.
brought
Okay.
us first alphabetically, so he should start, I think.
well, I was just gonna go down my picture. It's easier. Okay, then Bob,
Bob, aye. Bob Rose.
Michael,
I'm going to abstain since I wasn't there. I
Okay.
can't speak to the meeting.
AJ,
Cashew, aye.
okay. Sullivan,
Sullivan, I.
okay, and I say aye. Okay, very good. So we have a unanimous vote on that. Okay, so now the next thing I think is the next thing, the business about the Peterbilt quote from that Tim Kate brought in. Do you have the agenda?
yes, it is. It's the
Okay.
highway dump truck.
Okay, did you all get your copies of mega pages?
Yes, I got it.
You got it. Yeah, I just got it.
I just got it.
AJ,
at
do you have
5:04,
yours?
So
I don't think I got it. Did it just come today?
5:04.
Yes.
Yeah, it's out. It came at 5 o'clock.
Okay, I don't see it, so it might have gone to my spam. I don't usually have that problem, but
You never know.
But everybody else got it.
I got it.
I got it here.
I'll
And
resend
Steve
it.
says yes.
yeah, please do. I didn't get it. Yeah, I don't see it in my spam folder either. 504, no.
Your name is on there. That's all I know.
It's very strange.
Forwarding, so the attachment stays. Yeah, it's the same email as usual.
I hope you have a lot of paper in your printer. This goes on for a while.
Oh,
I'll just leave it on my
I
screen.
can put
A
it, I
lot
can
further
put
than
it
that.
up on screen.
It's a big one.
I hope you don't expect any of us to have totally
Oh, no.
read it.
No, of course
No,
not.
This-
I know people like details, so the first 3 pages are the meat of it.
Yeah,
Okay,
And
and
then
I just got word that Tim will not be here. So I will attempt to go through it with everybody and hopefully Steve will help.
I'm sure he will. Yeah,
Okay,
this,
Drive
know-
it.
oh, good. you know, if nothing else, I'm going to miss Tim because his writing is so beautiful. We have no trouble reading it. Okay, here's the, okay.
Okay.
This is a part of this, of course, is the reiteration of what he'd already given us, except now we have the Peterbilt quote to go along with it. And you can notice how much lower that is than the Mac and the Western Star for the cab and the chassis.
So it's 43,000 less than the Western Star and 22,
Yep,
7 less than the other,
then Peterbilt.
than the Peterbilt.
No,
So-
I'm sorry, then the Mac.
Yes. So the all-season body from MHQ came in at the 140. That's what we reviewed before. And then we had the Western Star quote before for the 320. So the new quotes that we have are the Peterbilt, which, yeah, I know Bob said to me this afternoon, Peterbilt is never the lowest, but for some reason, it is this time. And
It's the Home Depot Peterbilt that's coming out now, I think.
the Home Depot version. So you can all see the significant reduction of cost when with these two new bids from Fairfield and from Peterbilt. And both the quality, from what Tim understands, is there's no loss in quality by these lower prices. Steve, have you seen the new Peterbilt truck in Leverett yet?
Have I what?
Didn't Peterbilt get, I'm sorry, didn't Leverett get a Peterbilt that they just received?
Oh, I don't know if they've gotten it yet, because the last we knew from Matt, they were still putting the body on it.
Oh, okay, so,
Steve, isn't that a single axle? Leverett's?
The Leverett's truck, I believe, is a single axle.
But Peterbilt's
Oh,
a good chassis. I mean, it's a good truck. It's got a good reputation.
Oh, yeah.
and what are we looking at, Steve? How many, is this a,
The
Yep.
10-wheeler, the 2 axles.
yeah. Two axles.
Tell you what, it's nice. The $95,000 savings is quite nice also.
It ain't chicken feed.
No, it isn't. And
And
even
it-
the other way, it's still $23,000 saving. So it's really, really, really nice. Okay, now
Yeah,
he's
it's a
just
Leverett
gave
truck
us some
for us.
points to ponder.
Okay, and I did, one more question for you, Steve. Is your truck single or double axle?
The Western Star is a single axle,
Okay,
and the other Sterling, the 07 is a single axle. Yes, we're looking to replace the 10-wheeler.
right,
And that's a double axle.
yes.
No, okay.
That's correct, yes.
Well, I figured it had to be, but I don't know anything about trucks.
So the big difference is that with the 10-wheeler or the 2 axles is it has a 14-yard body on it. You know, you can load that sucker up, and the single axles only hold 8 yards. So it's almost double.
And that's important when you're out sanding or
Steve, what about the
salting.
turning radius? Is that an issue for you when you're driving the double axle?
No, when you get into the triaxles, that's where you get into the trouble with the turning, because that third axle will drag. But with the no, and Tim likes I think it's a extended front cab where the front axle is out a little bit further, so it makes the turning easier. It's in the specs.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, in the 13 pages of specs.
Go on and on.
Well, I
It's
knew
very good.
somebody wanted to read every detail, so I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure you had it. All right, so the points to ponder. The new I think Bob, he's talking about the concept of taking the part that's better off now. Is it the chassis? And
No, one of the options he's giving us here, Becky, is putting a new body on the existing chassis.
Okay, a new body on existing chassis.
And that's what he's laid out here as an option. And he gives a different options within that option of stainless steel versus regular steel painted. And it doesn't give is reconditioning the existing body, which I think is another interesting option. We could ask him to.
That's not that reconditioning that body. It's already been done once. And if you're gonna put that reconditioned body on a new chassis, it's only it wouldn't last very long. But putting a new body on would work, but it's gonna be super expensive.
Well, the option I was thinking about, Steve, was putting a reconditioned body on the existing chassis. So you wouldn't have a new body on an old chassis, which I can see might be problematic in the future. But I just wanted that option to be, out there so we could look at it, because he did say that that was an option last time he was in front of us. So I don't know, you know better than I do what the condition of the body is, but I know that in the past I've seen you guys have them sandblasted and painted and welded up and then put back on, right? I mean, or maybe they stay on when that happens.
Yeah, it's, I don't know if they took it off or if it stayed on, but yeah, that was $10,000 or $12,000. And that was, I think it's been done twice now.
I just thought it'd be a good option to have on the table so that we could look at that as amongst the other options. Because the mess that the supply chain is in, it makes it hard for, well, according to what Tim said, almost impossible to get delivery on this stuff. So be nice to at least look at the option of limping by until things hopefully get better in this crazy world we're in now.
So my only issue is forward thinking this. I know at this point, we've never really looked at brine or any of the liquids, but it might be hard to retrofit this body and to be able to do that.
Well, you're thinking about using a different melting?
No, I'm just saying that in the future, who knows what we're gonna do? Who knows if the 50-50 salt and sand mix is gonna be something that we continue to do? And it might be hard to retrofit that body.
One question I had for you is, I was going to ask Tim, but I'll ask you, you probably know about this too, is my understanding is that diesel has become more and more, diesel power plants have become more and more kind of subject to new regulations and with fuel and exhaust and all the rest. How is that going to affect, I mean, going from a 2008 or 10 to a 2022, what's that going to mean for you in terms of running this thing?
Well, at this point, in 2008, they bumped it up a little bit, but 2014 and up, they already have it. That 17 Western Star we have has the DEF, and we have to just keep topping that off. And it's got a super expensive exhaust on it. But as far as running the truck, it doesn't have any difficulties, and it's not until 2025 or 2027 are they gonna bump it up again.
Okay. So you're not.
So
you're
now what, okay, now I'm very confused. And I'll admit that. Okay, like if we were, this says new body on 2003 Sterling.
Yeah.
So and that the engine then would be of the 2003 Sterling, correct?
Yeah, it'd be the same truck that we have. now.
Okay, but then, okay, so now if they keep upping the stuff for the diesel and all, how is that going to affect us being able to even run the truck and get the proper gasoline and all? Will we still be able to get something that'll run in the 2003? Or is it going to be something where, you're talking about it being upped all the time, Steve, in increments? So is there a time going to come when you can't use old trucks anymore?
It's coming, but it won't be, I think it's 2035 is when
Oh,
that's
okay.
gonna happen. Cause that 17 Western Star is a zero emissions truck.
Oh.
I can fire it, you know how we got the fire station, that exhaust system that hooks. Well, we don't
Mhm.
have that at the highway department, but that 17 Western Star, you can fire that up inside, leave the doors down, and you wouldn't even know it was running except
Oh,
for the.
come on, really?
Yep.
I don't know. That's amazing.
That's wonderful.
Hope you don't do that.
I'm sure he doesn't, but anyway.
Well, anyway, I
Okay.
just want to see those options on the table so we can look at them comparatively and you know, the diesel fuel is the diesel fuel. It's just the way you have to treat the fuel, Ellen, that has changed to make these newer. more
Yeah, but
modern-
it still can make it hard for vehicles that don't have engines that can do it with the treatment, I would think. And if
Right.
they're really gonna basically outlaw them in 35.
35.
Yeah, like Bob said, the diesel will always be the diesel.
Yeah,
Just all of the new mechanics and the exhaust that make it zero emissions. That's where the technology keeps growing. But the
and we
fuel
do know, and
will be
we
the
do,
same.
and we do know that we have trouble getting the exhaust system for the old truck,
The parts.
the parts.
Well, that's
Right.
only because they stopped making that truck in
Right.
2008.
And that's the issue. So if we kept that piece of the truck, it's going to be even harder to get what we need when we need it. So basically, it could well put that truck out of commission for a long time. Okay, if we do it this way, but anyway, okay, going down the list. We also have another 2007 Sterling. The parts will be harder to come by in the future. Well, if they're harder to come by if they've already stopped for the 2003, that's only 4 years difference. So I imagine it will be.
Oh no, they stopped. No, there's no new parts for either of those trucks.
Oh, okay, because that isn't what he said here, but okay. And then he went down further to add to his wish list. That's a
Backhoe.
Backhoe.
backhoe. It looks like a bush hog to me, but anyway. Okay, a backhoe that we may have to look at in the very near future replacing because of the hours on it and the timing when major components start having difficulty. And he's actually looked at a quote for it, but I don't think that's for this year. Am I correct,
Correct.
Becky? Okay, that
Correct.
was
No, he just wanted everyone to be mindful that the current backhoe, the 2008, has been heavily used. It's the most heavily used piece of machinery. And maybe Steve, you can describe its purposes. But this is very helpful to update our capital plan.
All right, so it does everything except snow removal. We load with it, we grade the roads with it, we dig ditches with it, we pick up trees that fall over with it, we knock trees off power lines when no one's watching with it. That thing does everything.
Yeah.
I want to know how you get it high enough to be able to knock things off power lines, but we won't ask.
And it also, while you don't use it to snow plow, you do use it to fill up the trucks
Yeah.
with sand.
he
right?
mentioned
So
that,
You're
yeah.
using it year round.
Obviously, it's a critical piece of equipment. And if it goes down, we've got real trouble. Especially in the snowstorms.
Well, we could always buy some more used shovels and picks, and then we wouldn't need the backhoe at all. That would.
It's a lot greener, Steve. It's a lot greener.
And then we could help the economy and hire 24 new laborers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Operators.
Shovel operators.
Shovel operators, yes.
Yeah.
What's
Mikey's
the
the
pay
payment
grade
used
for
to
shovel
say-
operators?
I don't know. You gotta watch.
I don't think we want to know.
Well, as Mikey Stepanek used to say, it was a 3-foot boom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we'd like to study this thing in detail, and so that we can, when we review this, we'll have some
Yeah.
understanding of Very
Yes,
nice that he
definitely.
provided us with this data.
And we do, and thank Tim for all the work he's put in it to get this together. Really. Very good. Okay, now what else did we have that was new or different or?
Okay, so the other thing Kristen had sent over additional information a while back. Did everyone get that?
I don't know which one it was, so.
It was about a cruiser, I think.
I don't think I remember seeing it. What date was that, Becky?
I don't know. I'm searching for it myself. I remember
She
she
sent
said
it?
she did it.
Herself?
And I apologize, she cannot be here tonight. She is doing the EVOC training, which is actually the night course tonight. So she's unable to attend. Okay, capital. AJ, in the minutes, did we list what the questions were about her truck? I mean, about her.
Her
SUV
car, her
request?
cruiser.
We had some additional information we asked her for.
Yeah, let me just take a look.
131. She was at the meeting in
I
December.
think that was the one before, right? Wasn't
Yeah,
that
right.
the
Yeah, I think it
17th?
was December.
Yeah, I think I have
Oh.
notes here somewhere.
Or maybe it was January 17th. I'm not sure.
Hey, it's 17th, yeah.
117.
I asked her if she had an appraisal of the vehicle, the Taurus. I didn't know how we could assay what its condition was and what it was worth. I did actually speak to one of the officers. I think his name was Nate. Is that one of the?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nate is an officer.
Yeah. He was driving it one night when I was waiting, or one morning when I was waiting for the building committee to show up. And I asked him what he thought of the car, and he said, works. That was his analysis.
I have my notes from the January 24th meeting here, and basically Bob's question there.
I think she collected the repairs that had been done to it, but I don't know if she had a full quote.
Okay.
Sorry.
I can't remember if it was Kristen and it was the police, but I think I had asked if there was any information about the trade-in value
Yeah.
of the current cruiser,
Right,
which I think-
yes, somebody did mention either a
was
trade-in
that
or
police? Yeah,
auctioning
yeah.
it
Yeah,
or
Yeah.
selling it.
I think both, but not Walter's vehicle. I mean, he'd probably tell you that was a scrap.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's,
But
No,
that
that's
that
gotta be
2000, her vehicle is a 2014, right? The Taurus.
yeah, I think it was like 120,000 miles or something.
Yeah, I mean,
something
that's
like
a
that.
used
That's
car.
not
it
for a
seemed like it
police
might have some
cruiser, but
value, yeah.
but that's a lot for a police cruiser and would influence the value of it.
I don't know. I just know that my dealer, the guy that sold me my truck, emails me every month asking me if he could buy it back.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, they do
That's a
that now.
17, you know?
Yeah, they want those, but police cruisers, they wouldn't necessarily want. Because of what they've gone through.
Mhm.
But I don't know, did she get any of that info? Do you know? I mean, we would have no idea what it would be able to
sent
be
it, so
sold
I-
for. We might be able to find out a trade-in, but we couldn't find out a
Yeah,
sale.
I think
because
that's what we had asked. Yeah, it was about whether any of the dealers she had spoken to would give her a quote on a trade-in.
Right.
No, that can't. I'm gonna, let's see if I can text her.
Oh, she's busy though. Is isn't this part of the academy that she's taking, the Bridge Academy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's worth a try.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Bridge Academy is what they're taking to be able to, part-time officers who have not been to the full-time academy will then be considered full-time officers or part-time officers who have gone to the academy. And it's been a lot of work for her.
Yeah, they're doing the driving part this week.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Hope it wasn't too slippery wherever they were driving today, because, you know, depending on the time, it could be.
Oh, boy. I'm sorry, I didn't double check this one. So nobody saw anything coming through.
No, I didn't get it.
How about we look it up on Blue Book?
Yeah,
Well,
we could
I'll
do
call
that.
I'll call my salesman who's always bugging me and ask him what he thinks.
Yeah,
we-
but he would have to see the car,
Well, if you give me
realistically.
an idea of what it is, anyway, I can report back to the committee. Greenfield Ford, you know, it's a Ford Taurus, so.
Yeah, but you have to indicate it's a police vehicle and it's
I'll
100 and
indicate-
whatever
I'll be
miles.
straight- I'll be as straight with him as any car salesman ever was with me.
Yeah, right.
That doesn't
Yeah,
limit
that
you much,
helps.
does it?
Matter of fact, one guy said to me once that he swore on his mother's grave that I was getting the best deal possible.
Right. I remember dealing with a car salesman. I actually put her in tears.
Ellen, you have such a touch.
No, it wasn't me. Actually, it was my friend that was with me.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah, it was ridiculous.
So why don't we just put that aside to next time? How's that?
Yeah, I
sound?
think we're going to have to.
Sounds like a plan. I
Yeah,
apologize.
definitely.
There's been so much police stuff going around.
Oh, yeah. And is there anything else then we have to consider tonight?
We had an item, Becky.
Except, yes, dear. Go ahead, Bob.
The building committee, we've been talking about this at our meetings and at finance committee and also a building committee, that we would like to see what we're calling Plan B be formulated and kind of executed. That is the second part of the school roof.
Oh, yes, yes.
So I've been in touch, Becky, I'm sure has been done some things too, but I personally have contacted an engineer, a roofing engineer from Gale Associates, isn't it?
Mhm.
Down in eastern part of the state, and he's given us a proposal to do it. That's one proposal we have. We have the current engineer or architectural firm that we're going to ask to provide us with an estimate. And we also have still Tom Ewing. I talked to him and he said he would come up with something. with
And
an
I
architect.
did talk to Habib Engineers today. Kevin Preventure, the person who spearheaded the gym roof project. And I told him I would send him a scope of work. He does have the drawings of the roof, so he knows the dimensions already. But Bob, that's my one concern. If you could reconstruct the scope of work that you verbally gave to Gale Associates,
Well,
so we can make sure that we're giving all three, everyone the same information.
well, here's the issue for me is that I told him in general terms that we want a replacement. But the first part of that replacement, if we hire somebody, if it's Gail or if it's Habib or whoever, is they're going to have to come in and do an evaluation and then draw up a scope of work, because part of their job will be to evaluate what we have and what we need. So, we need a new roof. And we have to deal with some problems that were there in the past, such as the pop nail issue, which I did mention to him. But he would have to come in. The way that it worked on the gym roof would be the way that it would work on the asphalt roof, which is that the engineer would show up with a roofing contractor. They would do some cutting and some investigation into the substrate, see what it looks like and evaluate it, and then take that information and draw up a scope of work and a design. And so that's something we have to commit to one of these guys, whatever firm, and we have to pay them money to do that.
Okay, Bob,
Um,
one of the things is cost is not our purview. When you're on the finance committee and assuming we say yes, because I mean, this is unnecessary.
Right, I understand.
So
that.
if this committee says yes, yeah, you can work on all this other stuff and get money and all that stuff. But right now, we are just going to be considering to recommend being done or not. That's our scope. We don't care
Okay.
about the money. The finance committee deals with money. We don't.
Right, so I would
And
like,
so,
to
and that's good because it's gonna take a while to get all these quotes together.
right, well, I'd like to suggest, I don't know how the process is, Ellen, but I would like to support, and I think the school committee supports, that we make a recommendation that we get this thing underway.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, no doubt.
Yeah.
But we've got to vote on it, but it's not, there are no votes on any prospective purchases or services or things like that scheduled for tonight. So we cannot do it tonight
Okay, good.
because it's not on our agenda.
I just wanted to discuss it while we had Dan and we had Steve here and Becky.
Yeah, and Steve's busy raising his hand. And Becky was first, though.
Oh, Steve can go first.
Okay. She's deferring to you, Steve.
So I just want to let everyone know, I just emailed this to Dan, that the regional school committee last night has authorized their finance director to send in their intent to the MSBA, because that opened up mid-February and the closing date is mid-March. So it is time to do it.
Steve, when is the next school committee meeting?
Probably the third week of March.
Which will be too late, probably.
The
So the
Shutesbury School
regional-
Committee?
No, the Shutesbury School Committee.
Okay, do you need a meeting?
Yes, because the superintendent has to sign off on, or the school committee, I believe, has to sign off on our new MSBA application,
Well, the
the
school
letter of
committee,
intent.
there's a specific wording that a motion that has to be made with specific wording that the school committee makes, and then it gets signed off on by maybe the principal or the finance director and the superintendent, but the school
Yeah,
committee is the one
superintendent.
that has to initiate that.
Right, the school committee. So Dan, if you could schedule a meeting, I didn't know about this date yet. That's going back to the original schedule after they were off by about 6 or 8 months. So this is the first time hearing that. I had, Bruce always kept me in the loop on this so that we could jump on it right away and prepare the application. So if we can get that letter of intent signed off on it, well, it's critical that we do it again.
Okay,
Just
could you-
because the building is now a year older and they have less reason to knock us out.
Except they keep changing how many years you've had it.
Okay, does Caitlin have this information?
She should, but I don't know.
I sent the email that I just sent to you, Dan, I sent to Jackie, Jen, and Caitlin last night, right after we approved it at the region.
Okay.
Okay, I'll get that going.
Thank you very much, Dan. Dan, you sound like me.
I know. We're
It's-
like
And
twins.
if I may ask, Steve, what is the regional school applying for?
Oh, it's the middle school. It's been kicked out for because it's the same age as the elementary school, and we get the exact same letter every single year. They're word for word exactly the same.
Yeah,
Although the
Oh,
interesting thing is that they're gonna throw in the auditorium this year for the first time, because that hit 20 years where we've just taken care of the gym. So they're gonna have a 2-piece where we only have a 1-piece.
no, I didn't know they were doing anything. That's,
Yeah, so hopefully
Interesting.
we'll get it and they'll wait again.
yeah, we hope. And what is happening with their outside field, their track and all that stuff? Because I saw that in the paper.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna ask about that so it still looks like, even though we don't know where the funding will come from, we're still looking at going for the big one, moving the track over, turning the track, making the field bigger, and going with the artificial turf. Just because the field use days is so crazy, and the requests for that field are just in the 200s, if not even 300. So the grass field wouldn't make any sense. So we're trying to figure out how to, we had Dave Zomack from the CPA and Sean Mangano last night with us with this discussion. And yeah, so it's gonna be the big one. It's gonna be the
And
4
is
million.
Shutesbury going to be expected to help pay for it? Because
Yeah.
that's what I saw in the paper. There was something about that if worse came to worse, Amherst would foot it alone if the 3 towns refused.
That will never happen, but yes, the 4 towns, and they're gonna try and go for a huge fundraising effort to see what, but yeah, it's an outrageous price, but we need to do it.
But that on top of the whatever, the middle school, yeah. Could end up with
Well, the
some
numbers
pretty,
for
Oh,
Shutesbury were
don't
pretty
forget,
shocking.
there's also the girls' locker room at the high school that still
Don't
needs to
forget.
be updated, that I've been talking about since 2014.
oh, wow. Yeah, Bob, what were you gonna say?
I was just going to say that if you look, I don't know, if the committee will see these figures at some stage,
We will.
hopefully. But the numbers are for the what Steve is calling the most expensive option are very, very high. And they're very, Shutesbury under a pretty large obligation on every year.
Wonderful.
So I don't know. And there's all these questions about the CPA money, whether some towns will vote it in, some towns may not vote it in, and what contribution Amherst will make versus the other towns. And those questions have to be answered before we
Yeah.
can put it on our docket
Oh,
for
yeah.
town meeting, you know?
Yep,
We don't, those
definitely.
questions are still out there, right, Steve?
Yeah, all the options are still out there. We're gonna talk about it again in 2 weeks. And I think we're gonna make a decision because we need to get it so that town meetings can get it on their
Mhm.
warrants and all that cool stuff.
Ouch.
Steve, did they
Okay.
talk about this third option? Like, where like Amherst would pay a third of it, then I think it was Amherst CPA funds, maybe? Was that the other, would pay for another third, and then 1/3 of it would be assessed to all 4 towns using the
3
usual
towns, maybe.
formula.
Yeah, that was one of the big things last night, but in that was also the fundraising piece.
Yeah. Okay. So they're still talking about that, though, it sounds like. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Ouch. That's my
Ouch.
only comment on all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
an
That's
expensive
nasty.
one.
yeah, definitely. Okay, and we, of course, you
Hmm.
say, Becky told me today, I asked her, and she said that maybe around the 15th, we'll hear on the library. So we're hung up on that.
Yeah, that's the date the MBLC gave us,
March 15th?
March 15th.
So
The Ides of March.
when's our next capital planning?
Well,
meeting?
that's what we have to decide. Now, I have something in my calendar that we were supposed to meet with FinCom next week. But of course, we don't have anything to give to FinCom.
No. Well,
So the question is, do we then convert the meeting for March 8th over to a regular meeting where we make some decisions? Yes,
Well-
Becky, we
well-
can't.
We can't because 3 of us are in the other meeting.
Right, that's what
Right.
I was afraid of. Okay, so when are we, everybody have their calendars out?
Dan's got his hand up.
Oh, who? I'm sorry, Dan?
Yeah, just a quick question. So I know that I need to schedule a meeting with the school committee so that we can move forward with applying for grants, correct?
Yes,
Okay, so regardless of whether we are awarded those grants, will the project move forward? Will we fix the roof?
yes.
Well, that's what we have to vote. We have to vote on it, and we
it's
can't,
dependent on town meeting.
yeah.
Okay, so it'll, from here, it'll go to town meeting.
No, it
vote
goes to
on whether to
FinCom
fix the
first. Goes to FinCom first,
Okay,
after we recommend.
okay.
Well, we, the capital planning committee, already authorized Becky to reach out and start this process.
Yep, and we're moving along. Bob has gotten the first quote. I'm talking to Habib Engineering. I need to put together the formal bids because of the cost is over $10,000 or $25,000, and get that out as soon as possible. We need to have at least 3 quotes in that are similar by biannual town meeting to
Right.
approve the funds.
Let me just say,
So-
we can come up with a description of what we want people to provide us with, so that everybody's the same.
Yes,
Yeah.
Conditions.
even
But then
playing
when we
field.
do that,
Yeah.
I would like to see, just to facilitate this process, because I still think that we could even possibly conceivably do this roof. I would like to see it done in the summer if it was at all possible.
Mhm.
So, it's something Becky and I have discussed a little bit. We've discussed in the building committee and the FinCom, that if we could hire one of these firms, the way that they establish their payment schedule is kind of in parallel to the project itself. So the first payment is for the evaluation. The second payment is for the design. And then the rest of the payments go along with the construction and the follow-up to construction. So we wouldn't need the whole, say it was $50,000, for example. We wouldn't need $50,000 to get going. We would need enough to get into the construction phase, through the bidding phase. So there's a possibility that we'll be talking about this in FinCom as something that we could finance out of our reserves and get things going before town meeting, which I understand is in May, right?
May 21st, yep.
Yep.
The only hang up, typically on projects of this size, the accountant has to sign off that funds have been allocated.
Right.
And we wouldn't be able to do that sign off at that time if it was required. It might not, it's frequently required, but not always. So I'm just,
Something to look into.
Because this is not an emergency, and that's what your reserve is supposed to be used for.
It's an
Not just
emergency, all
that,
right.
and it's not an emergency.
It is.
No, it is not. We have been
It's-
talking about this for how many years? It's not
Yeah,
an
I know.
emergency.
It's getting more urgent all the time.
Well, it is, but it's not an
I would call it an
emergency.
emergency, Leaky Roof.
I would say that
Okay,
it's
anyway,
not an
that's for next
emergency.
meeting. Let's set a meeting, gentlemen, please.
I'm open. Next week.
Okay,
Monday,
since we
7th?
can't do Tuesday, the 8th. I'm busy the 9th. I'm busy the 10th. Do you want, that would take us into, unless you want to do it Friday, the 11th.
no,
No,
Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
then let's jump up. We have to go to the next. I'm trying to get things done as soon as possible.
How about Monday, the 14th?
I'm busy.
Wow.
Life's
15th,
getting busier.
select board meeting on the 15th.
How about the
16th?
16th?
Good for me.
Yeah.
16th is still,
No, Michael, are you
I'm
shaking your head
open on
no?
the I'm open on the 16th.
Okay, everybody open on the 16th?
Steve?
Good, great,
Awesome.
okay. So let's set it up for the 16th. What time, gentlemen?
5:30 works for me.
5:30 good for everyone?
Sounds
Good.
good.
Okay. 5:30
Three,
on the
16,
16th.
5:30.
And
And the agenda for that meeting,
Are we doing votes at that meeting?
I think we will. Is
yeah,
that right, Ellen?
Yeah,
We
we
will.
need-
vote
I
at
think
that
we
meeting?
will.
We
We
should
will
have a
discuss and
library.
vote. Pardon?
So,
We're not
we'll
gonna be
get
able
the
to do everything
additional
that night, right?
information from the
Kristen.
police department
Yeah,
and voting.
wonderful.
Can I ask a
Anything else?
question here? Before we break,
Sure.
I'd just like to know what the rest of the committee thinks about when we have this session, when we are discussing and voting on various requests. I would like to, I think it's better if we don't have the requesting agency there to debate it with us. I think it's better if we do our job and we evaluate all the information given to us without having to go through another session with the department head. That's my view. What do you
It's a
think?
public meeting, Bob. They can be
Public meeting,
wherever
but
they
we're not-
want to be, whenever they want to be there.
Exactly, but they don't have to be a part of the discussion. They can make comments, of course, but not debate us. That's my concern. I don't know what other people think about that, but that's my view.
Anyone have a comment?
I think,
Sometimes
I think,
question, go ahead.
yeah, I guess my response would be that, yeah, the primary purpose is for committee members to have a discussion among ourselves about using the data information that they've provided us. I will say that, it's not like inconceivable though that we would have the need for like a quick like follow-up question, like, that might come up in the course of our discussions. And, that could be useful to have them, there for the purpose of answering or clarifying something that, is relevant to our discussions.
Yes, Becky.
Nicely said, AJ. The one time I remember it getting a bit contentious, I think there was a disagreement about the capital planning's committee understanding of what a person was asking for. And then the person was trying to clarify what he felt was like a misunderstood request. So while it could be contentious, I think it's important that we do have a clear understanding of what is being requested. And it's a public meeting, so I think, I think we need to keep it open, but be mindful to keep it reasonable and non-confrontational in any way.
And I think also that it's important that hopefully representatives are here only because if we're misinterpreting something, we need to know that.
Right.
My only concern was getting into a debate about the thing. Just getting information is fine, and certainly I understand it's an open meeting, but I just want to be able to do our business, evaluating the request and making our recommendation. That's all.
Okay, well, it's still a public meeting, so anybody can be there that wants to be, but thank you for your comments. Is there any other discussion on anything?
I just wanted to.
Yes, oh, wait a minute,
just-
wait a minute. I've got
Oh,
two
sorry, go
people talking.
Sorry.
I think did I hear Bob?
Nope.
No,
Dan,
then I
think
heard
it's
Dan, I
fine.
know, and somebody
Okay.
else.
AJ,
AJ.
AJ, okay, AJ first, please, because he's a board member.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I'm clear on what votes are going to be taking place. So we've got 2 police requests, highway department requests, fire department requests, vehicle requests. I assume we're voting on the Vadar counting?
Yeah, we're going to do on the accountant
Right.
/ treasurer. And
Okay.
also depending, because what date is that? That may be before, is that before or after we hear about the
hopefully
library?
library?
before, we should know.
Okay, so if we know about the library, then we
Okay.
might, if they don't get it,
Right,
of course, then we revert back to the $25,000 a year. So that
Right.
could be, and we
okay,
don't
so
know.
that could be a vote. And then I think the last one is this, following up on Bob's
Yeah,
research about a backup option for engineering.
yeah, just vote to approve.
Yeah.
The redoing of the roof. That's all we have to do.
Yeah.
Right,
Because
okay,
it's the
got it.
school committee and everybody else is, as Dan and Steve were talking, that have to,
And
and
that's-
Becky, that have to do the signatures and all that. We don't worry about that.
Right, and that's it, right? There's no other school requests that
No.
we're considering.
No,
Yeah, okay.
there was nothing. Now, Dan, did you have something?
I just wanted to say real quickly, just for clarification, that the school roof leak is not an emergency, but it is urgent.
Yeah, oh, we know that. But
Okay.
emergencies are things like when your boiler blows up in the middle of the year, as I have been in buildings where they have.
Well, it happened at town hall.
Yeah, I know, that's what I was referring to. In the middle of winter. Yes, Bob.
Ellen, I'm gonna ask, do you see us voting on all these things in one night?
Yes, I do.
Really?
It may run late, but I hope we've got to do it. We have to get it
Yeah,
done.
just curious. It seems like a lot of work, but
No, we have to
sharpen your
get it
pencil.
done. So everybody review it all, please, before the meeting, so we can run this meeting quite quickly. Because I don't get supper till after it's over. So- And neither do any of you, I'm sure.
we'll get grumpy then.
So I've just got a quick question for Bob. Can you email me whatever it is that you want Tim, that the existing body, what you're interested
Yeah,
in?
sure, I'll do that.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, it should be emailed probably to all of us so we see it.
Okay.
I think that's a good idea. Okay, is there anything else? Dan, you look tired.
But I've been
Anyway.
grilling outside in between. I got some nice chicken ready.
Oh, you're ahead of us.
Outside
Oh,
in
yeah,
40-degree weather?
on the grill. It's the best.
Oh, yeah, it is, but anyway, okay. Then do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion made.
Seconded.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Oh, we
Aye.
have to do roll call
Oh, we
vote.
have to do roll call again. Groves,
Aye.
Broad,
Aye.
AJ,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
McKay, yes. So, okay,
Thank you.
gentlemen, we'll
Have a
see you in
nice
2
day.
weeks.
Good
Good
Thank you
night.
all very much.
And
Good
be
night.
careful and have a great 2 weeks. Stay healthy.
Good night.
Good night.